Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I'm working on my radio voice here. I feel like I'm getting close to something sustainable. No, but welcome back to Yes I'm a Unicorn, where we have discussions about productivity, you know, life. Today is more of like a life conversation. That's why um I wasn't able to like deliver my normal spiel. Um those of you who may have seen some of my other more recent videos, I'm on a mission to run little experiments in my life and, check in every 10 days, figure out what's working, make tweaks. And that's how I'm living these days. I'm a mom. I have a 9 to 5 job. I'm creating content. I'm living my life. And I'm sharing with you guys. So, today's topic is really funny because I recently experienced sort of like a need for a reset, and I wouldn't even call it a reset. Like that sounds so dramatic and like, but I started to question some things about like what I believe in terms of our lifestyle, like in our modern lifestyle, like what are we actually doing? Like, every now and then it comes to me that like, okay, is everything that you're doing working? Is it working for you? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's working for other people. Maybe you're meeting expectations in all your responsibility areas, but like, is it working for you? Is it working? And so I kind of had to come face to face recently with whether that was the truth or not for me. And I mean, listen, the great thing about life is like you can always just reassess and start a new set of behaviors. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the title of it could be kind of jarring, but I think it was something like are we forgetting how to be human? And I think we are a little bit. And so I'm gonna go into some questions. It's not like I have a whole bunch of like answers, like, you know, I have some answers for myself. I don't claim to know all the answers for everybody else, but I really just have a lot of questions. And my hope is that, this conversation is valuable. And I believe it is. We need to be having this conversation with ourselves, with our people in our families and our networks, because if we're not enjoying our lives, then that's the beginning of something really bad. And so anyway, let's jump in. I got a couple talking points up here on the screen, so I'm gonna just, try to stay sort of organized with this, but some of it I may riff on because I'm just like, well, it's all a riff, but it's all, I want it to be organized. Anyway, the question that I have is like, why are we in such a hurry? This is the question that I asked myself recently, about like what is the big rush? Like I understand we have like timelines to do stuff, right? Like we have deadlines for projects, we have, event dates, we have appointments, we have to hurry up and, we have to get to work, we got to get our kids to wherever they're going. And you're trying to stay for the most part, we're trying to stay on some sort of schedule so we can meet our needs and our family's needs. But why is it that we apply that same mindset? And I'm speaking, generally here. It seems like we apply that same sentiment and the same cadence to the entirety of like the way that we're living. Why is it such a hurry to get this done? Hurry up and get this done. Hurry up and get this done. Because I don't think that that's a natural state of being. If you're hurrying up to get everything done, then essentially you're hurrying up to live, right? And then if you're just hurrying up to live, then what was the point? Like, do you not feel like you want to stop and savor some of it? If everything is becoming such a rush and we're just hurrying up to get to do something, like what is that? What kind of human experience is that? Like I'm really, so personal story. I recently I recently have been really interested in cursive writing again. Like I learned how to write in cursive when I was in school, and we used to have to turn in our papers in cursive writing. And recently, I've been watching some things, and I came across a book that I have in my office where it's like, oh, practice your cursive writing. And the immediate thought that I had to myself, well, when will I have time to do this? Like, I have to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, dude, if I can't find 20 minutes in my day to do something that I want to do, then something's wrong. Like, I have a job, I have, responsibilities and things like that in my life. But if I feel this sense of like I can't fit anything in that I want to do, then something is super weird. Like, there is so much, I don't say there's so much time in the day, because I certainly am, feeling the pressures just like everybody else, right? Like, and I always am the first to say, we have 1,000 minutes a day. What are you going to do with your 1,000 minutes? If you wake up at 7:20 in the morning, you have 1,000 minutes until midnight, and somehow you should have something to account for what it is that you were trying to do. Like, you shouldn't have just letting the day got away from you, right? All the time, every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, every day is not going to be perfect, but if you have a desire to achieve something, like some of those minutes, you should have something to show for it, right? But at the same time, we should also make more time for ourselves. And we are the deciders of that. Somehow along the way, I feel like we've given so much of our power in decision making away to things that don't necessarily that aren't working for us anymore. So I go back to the statement that I made at the beginning there, like, is it actually working? So if you're so locked up in your day and in your week that you can't squeeze out 20 minutes for yourself to try something or do something that you enjoy, or even that for yourself, if you can't make any time for yourself, then there's something that needs to be evaluated, because you are the decider. You have the choice, unless you're being held captive, in which case, you know, more power to you, and I hope you get out of there. But a lot of us are holding our own selves captive in these expectations we're putting on ourselves that no one assigned to us, but somehow we're like living alongside. Like, we just agreed collectively that, oh yeah, I should be this. Oh yeah, I do need to do that. Oh yeah, I do have to do that. And like, if we don't stop to assess whether that's really true for us individually, then I think that's how we end up in these predicaments where we don't own our own time, or we don't give ourselves the ability to make decisions for ourselves. Like, they're already pre-made, which is a sad, sad thing. And I think a lot of us, it's easy for us to fall into it because we want to, perform well for others. We want to do what we signed up to do, right? Like, oh, well, I told so-and-so I would do that. I gave my word, or, I have this title, and so that means I have to be this. But those things need some looking at if we can't find time to do what we want to do. So I am deciding, just to close out that point a little bit and move on to the next one, I'm deciding that I can find 20 minutes somewhere in my day, a few times a week, to practice my cursive writing. And I don't even know how it's going to benefit anybody. I just want to do it, and there it is. And the sense that I have to hurry up and get stuff done, I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check that question at the door, because a lot of times, even at work, it's not that serious. Like, um, if as long as you're getting done what you signed up to do, like what you gave your word to do, as long as you're working on it and you're doing a decent job and you have a system of doing it, there's no need to put added pressure on that, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hurry up and get this done. Now, work is different, I will say, and sometimes, especially at home, like, time can just pass so quickly. Um, so I mean, listen, I'm take it with a grain of salt, but I think we do need to take a look at how and why we're doing a lot of things in a hurry, especially in our personal lives, I think we want to savor some of it, because when we look back at it, even when we look back at like a year, not even looking back at a whole lifetime, if you look back at your past year and you think, well, what were some of my goals and, aspirations a year ago? And just looking into, like, did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy the time that has passed since then? And if you're developing something and you're trying to create something or achieve something, there has to be some time to like experiment and live in it. It shouldn't all be about hurrying up and get it done, right? Like, and I mean, look, we all suffer from this. That's why I'm opening up the conversation, and that's why it's something that's on my mind, because somehow, somewhere along the line, This has been the messaging, but I just want us to really examine it, because why are we doing that? Why are we rushing? What is the end game? What is the point if we're just rushing to do everything? And especially when it comes to like creating something, if you're trying to like leave a legacy or like build a body of work, like why? Why does it have to be so quick? Why do you gotta hurry up and get it done? Why can't you just kind of like be in the moment, do the thing that you're doing, have the experience that you're having, like feel it, and then like and then move along to the next thing. Like why can't you enjoy it? It's not like everything's gonna be enjoyable all day long, but if you're gonna spend the time to do something, like what's the point in rushing through everything? That's really, and I'll end that part there, because I really just hoping to start a conversation. I'm wondering if there's other people out here thinking this. I could be the only person out here thinking like this. I doubt it, because we're all rushing. We're all rushing. I look around and we're all rushing to get somewhere. We all gotta, hurry up and get this thing done. We hate lines. We hate, you know, we don't want to waste our time. I get that. And I'm totally with that. But it makes me wonder, like, what is it what is it that made us think that we have to rush through everything? So, and I'm making some grandiose statements here because, I gotta cite it, like we're here. And then it brings me to like a point of like maybe we think there's not enough time. Now, just like I said, I understand the time limiting thing. Actually, I think it's a fun game that I gamify. In fact, I keep a timer all the time, like different kind of timers on my desk, because I learned, especially with work, but I also at home, like Pareto's principle or something like that. Like it takes as long as you give yourself. So if you give yourself 3 weeks to do something, it's gonna take you 3 weeks. If you give yourself 5 hours to do something, it's gonna take you 5 hours. If you give yourself 30 minutes to do something, maybe you don't get your best work done in 30 minutes, but even just like the naming of it. So I'm weighing this, right? So I'm saying maybe it's that. Maybe we think if I do it quickly, then I'll make time for other things. Maybe we think there's not enough time, in which some cases, sure, yes, that is true. There's not enough time to do everything, certainly. I think a lot of us, especially those of us who have like, we're multi-passionate. Like I like to do so many things. I like music, I like painting, I like drawing, I like writing in cursive. Like I like, obviously we're all out here consuming a fair bit of media. Um, there's not enough time to do everything and to be good at everything. So I do understand that. But when we're actually committing to doing a thing, rushing through it just doesn't seem worth it all the time. Like I get when you have a busy day, but um it just seems like we've lost the ability to like take some of that time for ourselves. And that's kind of what I'm getting at when I'm making the statement about like, are we forgetting how to be human? Because the things that sustain us, we rush through. And I'll just give you a few examples. Like we hurry up to get food, we rush to eat. We hurry up through the line to get food. Like and I noticed this. We hurry up. We want to eat real quick, and then sometimes we'll eat what's convenient and what's quick rather than to really nourish ourselves. And then working in the hospitality industry for so long, I know that some people do take the time and they visit and they have a good meal, and I think that's great. But I mean, on a regular basis, it's like we eat at our desks. We hurry up and make a quick dinner. We you know what I'm saying? And it's like when we are eating, I don't think we spend a lot of time actually like savoring our food and like letting it digest. We kind of like are on the run a lot. I noticed that for myself. Like but I have made steps in recent years even to like take a step and be like, no, I'm gonna sit here. Sometimes I work through lunch, but sometimes, a lot of times, I'll like go and eat my lunch, step away from my desk, and then I'll come back to work. But I mean, I'm just making this as an example because we hurry up to do a lot of stuff. We hurry up. Let me hurry up and get this phone call over with. Let me hurry up and do this thing. Let me hurry up and get to the store and back. And it's like, well, to do what? Like, I get it when you're running errands, you want to do all that stuff all day. But I really want to learn to like enjoy these moments. If I have to do it anyway, like, why not enjoy it? This is something that I'm actively like experimenting with. I'm not saying that I have it all figured out. I literally am trying to figure it out real time. And I'll take that cursive thing again. When I realized like, okay, I want to practice cursive, I immediately needed to justify it to myself, like, for what? Right? Like, who's going to see this? And like, you don't have time. And, I had to sit there and convince myself that it's okay. Like, it is a good use of time because you're going to enjoy it because you want to do it. And at the moment that you don't want to do it anymore, then you can decide whether you want to continue trying, but you should at least try. And you do have time. You're going to make time to do this because obviously it's something that you're interested in. The very idea that I would just like swat away a desire, that's something that's so simple, it doesn't cost me anything, like it's something that probably would help me slow my mind down, um and really just kind of like connect myself to my thoughts. It's like that kind of practice would probably be good for me, but I sat there and I had to like convince myself that it was a good use of my time. And I don't understand where that came from, but like I had to tell myself, like, I'm the person living this life in this body. I have the skill of writing in cursive. I can make the decision to improve it. Or if I didn't even have the skill, I can make the decision that I want to, like create a space in time, and it's in a space for me to practice this thing. And what else is standing in my way? And that was the question I had to like wrestle with. It's like, what's stopping me from doing this? Like, what is the problem? Like, you just already have you already have a veto on this thing. Like I don't even have the permission to take that little time. And I'm saying 20 minutes, it probably won't even take me that long, but I probably will spend about 20 minutes, doing that. But it's like, who told me no? Like, why did I tell me no? And if everything is so much urgent, everything is so much more urgent and important than something like that I want to do. What kind of life am I really living? I mean, I'm not out here, like look, I get it. Some people have really hectic lives and they have themselves like overscheduled. And I was just looking at a couple months ago, I was looking at Becoming. It was a documentary about Michelle Obama. And look, maybe she doesn't have time to sit there and practice her cursive because she has other really important things to do. And I totally get that. But like, most of us are not Michelle Obama. And if everything else that people need from us and all the things that we've built ourselves up to like be responsible for, if all those things are so much more urgent than what we can do for ourselves, I think that deserves some discovery, some exploration. It's like, what are we really doing? We're living for appointments and due dates. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the driving factor of life. That's not what we're going to be remembered for. That's not what we are contributing, like showing up on time to do all these things that you signed up to do. So it's like interesting to me. It's just something to think about. It's like, what are we spending all of our other time on that makes it so much more important than what we could be doing for ourselves? And I say that not just about the cursive writing, but recently I had taken some time to just sort out my thoughts and to and I'm making the time and space to do some resistance training, and even like go on walks with the family. And I found that even in that, it's like I have all these excuses as to like how I could spend that time. You're always going to have to be making some choice, some trade-off, some decision about like, yeah, you could do this or you could do that. But like the thing that you pretty much know what you should do, especially if you have a vision or any goals or anything like that. And if we can't make the time to do the things that like serve us, especially us, not just our families, not just our colleagues, not just like the stuff that we signed up for to serve in, but like if we cannot take care of ourselves and we do not have the time to make these small little decisions for us, I really am concerned about whether we're losing the ability to think for ourselves, whether we're losing the human aspect. Like, people used to go on walks. Like, I remember being a kid and being outside. When I drive around, I don't see no kids playing outside anymore. And I wonder, like, where are all the kids? I know there are kids. Nobody's playing outside. There's not a lot of people at the playground. Like, what is it? Is that so much more important than like just living life, than taking walks, than You know what I mean? Like just doing human stuff. And just some food for thought. I'm not claiming to know the answers to this. But if you gotta feel the same way, or if you've noticed some of these things, or if you think I'm wrong, please speak out in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, or make a video and put it out there, and hopefully link that down in the comments, because I just feel like I can't be the only person thinking this way. And even if I am, I would love to hear other people's thoughts and experience, because it seems like all of our experiences lead into other experiences. Like, maybe I have the desire to do something that will lead, and I do that, and then it leads me into something else, and it leads me into something else, learning something else, meeting someone who has that same desire, or, and the joy is in the doing. I think that's something that I've kind of like lost too, and that may have something to do with social media. But like a lot of times, as I'm rediscovering like painting and art, it doesn't have to be for the end product of like, I'm gonna make some art and sell it. No, that's not even my goal. I just want to do it for me. And it's like, I think the joy is in the doing, and knowing that I spent my time the way that I wanted to, so it feels worth it to me to just like explore that. And then whatever it is that I am doing, even if it's like scheduled, I want to try to find the joy and enjoyment in it. And what do you think about that? And what are we saving all of our energy for anyway? Because a lot of times we don't have the energy for it, and I could totally attest to that. Because what I was trying to do, especially because we had our son last year, and when you have your first child, the thing that's so funny to me that all the parents that I've met have sort of agreed on is like, what was I doing with my time before I had a child? Like, I don't even remember. Like, I had so much time to do whatever I wanted, and what was I doing? Because now it seems like every minute is about this baby or this child, and which is like a joyful thing, but it's like now I get it in terms of the time. And so, but what I realize is like a lot of times we avoid I don't know, it's like we spend a lot of times protecting ourselves from something to save our energy, to save things, but then what do we spend it on anyway? Like, the distraction is always going to be there. Like, there's always going to be something vying for your attention, vying for your resources. But if we take what we need for ourselves first, I think there'll still be enough to go around to what's important. So that's kind of like what I'm getting at, is because a desire is, within you, because it's like a cue for something. And if you kind of like put that off, it's like there's some external element telling us what should be important to us. And that's really kind of what I'm getting at. It's like, you should be doing things like this, and you should have this already, and you should be there already. Or, it's not like comparing. Well, it is. It's kind of like comparing yourself, but it's not necessarily to a specific person. It's like to a standard. Like, well, you should already be invested, and you should already have this thought out, and you should already have this thing. And it's like, sis, who? Right? You should already be here. That's the thing that kind of like loops back in my mind. And I feel like, I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's wise for us to individually have a sense to say for ourselves and choose for ourselves. Like, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I'm making time for. This is what I think is important. This is what I need for myself to have a decent experience, to have a good experience. And like making that priority. I think that's really important for us. And then with all of that said, this is what I'm willing to back off from. Now, that can get kind of tricky. That can get kind of, difficult to discern. But if you can't see it, if you can't see like what you're actually spending your time and energy and effort and attention on, right? And now look, now I'm going to get a little bit in our face here, because here's what I recognize. If you're not aware of why you desire something, or even where your time is going, where your attention is going, where your resources are going, you just have no awareness. You're just kind of like getting through the day, making your appointments on time, showing up to work, showing up where you're supposed to be. I want us to realize that somebody is paying attention. Like maybe we aren't paying attention. Maybe you don't know where your time is going. Maybe you don't know where your focus is going. Maybe you don't know why you want the thing that you want. But somebody does. Some corporation does. They have this data on us. They know what we're watching. They know how much time we're watching it. They know what we're spending money on. They know, the things that we're consuming. These corporations have the data on us and they're studying us. They're studying our patterns and our behaviors and all that. And so if you don't know those things about yourself, then you're just a cog, right, in a machine. And that's, I don't want to say it so flippantly like that, but like this is what we're moving towards. If we're not paying attention and if we're not simply able to land on, yeah, I'm important enough to take some time for myself and do the thing that I want to do, and to like really just like disconnect and really zone in into internally like what we want, what we feel, right? I feel like this is not a practice that is common these days. We just are kind of like buzzing around on our devices and everything, or even watching TV, or doing the things that we think are important. But I just am begging us to just take a look and see like what is it that it makes that more important. And then another thing that I was thinking about is like how, and this is going to tell my age a little bit. So I'm a Zennial. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a mix between Generation X and a millennial. So one thing that I think about often is like, and this might be true for so many different generations. I'm not saying that this is, exclusive to this, but we were prepared for like a life in an industry sort of phase that is not what we're experiencing, right? Like we were actively prepared for, we went to school and like came up, our parents trained us and told us like these things to be prepared for, and that is not the reality that is in existence anymore. Now, they're not to blame. They taught us based on what they knew. And I remember like being in school and they're like, if you don't do this, it's going to go on your permanent record, or if, on your permanent record. And that's such a, like, what is your permanent record? Like, that's ridiculous, especially at school. Like, that's ridiculous. But we believed in that. We believed in a bunch of stuff that actually didn't turn out to be what we're living now. But in this environment with the modern technology that we're now like living, one thing that is not lost on me is like we can actually, because nothing is certain, everything is possible. Anything is possible. I don't know whose quote that is, but because we're in this space with the access to one another and the modern technology to go live whenever or to do whatever, build up your content, build up your products, like do whatever you can do, we can actively participate in what's coming next. And I don't really know. I mean, sure, there's always been that possibility for everybody, but today I believe it's more true that, oh, Alexa, dismiss. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I do apologize because I have this timer that goes off at 6 o'clock every day. And I didn't even realize that was gonna happen, but this is what happens when you go live. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that I really dismissed her. I'm just trying to look at my phone and see if it's, no, I didn't. Stop it. Okay, that was funny. But and I hope I didn't set your devices off at home, because whenever somebody says that or the S word for one of these phones, that happens and it wakes up your device. Anyway, where was I? I was saying like, okay, yeah, in this point in with modern technology, we can actively participate in what's coming next. And I would argue more so than it wasn't as easy to do that as it in the past as it is now. Like we don't have to just wait and see what happens. We can actually actively communicate with one another, connect with one another, make decisions for ourselves, collectively like make this like decisions together, build things that we weren't able to do. And it's not necessarily the way that it was before. Like, well, we just gotta wait and see what happens, and let's just see what opportunities are out there. It's like, no, you can actually go and build something. And so I think that's really interesting. So we weren't prepared for this for the state of the world that we're actually living in, but we can definitely like motivate ourselves to like have these conversations and sort of design what we want to see exist and go and create it. So that's a really good thing. But again, we have to really be tapped into what our desires are. Like, because a lot of us were trained to just see what happens, to just follow directions, to follow the line leader and not be a leader ourselves. And I think those days, I mean, those people will still exist, and I think, that's fine. But now we just definitely have more power than we did before, and I just want us to remember that, because just because we weren't prepared for where we are, well, we always are prepared for where we are, right? Like, we're here, you can prepare now. But just because, like, when I was coming up, there was no way anybody would know what technology would do and how it would take off, and there would be AI and stuff. Like, I'm sure people were studying it, but they didn't know with like precision like what would happen and what sequence and all that. So, or how people would evolve and take onto it, or any of that. And there were entrepreneurs who didn't exist or have those ideas back then. I think about some of the corporations that have taken over with like the smartphones, or the, with Amazon, or, even like Uber or DoorDash or whatever. It's like there's all this, and those are all opportunities. Those are all opportunities that someone created based on their thinking. They're thinking outside of the box, or, just creating something for, for themselves. So with that, I'll land on this. Like, so when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that any of us, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying everything. I'm saying like the possibilities are endless. And I do think that a lot of us are like really gung ho on building like our own thing. And I think that's like a level of protection that we understand, that like, oh, you have to take care of yourself and your family. But one thing that I realized, I think we are kind of losing our sense of community, in the way of we're losing the space of meeting new people. And you can meet people online. And listen, I caution you, because I also watch a fair bit of ID channel. And so please be safe out there. But we used to go out and meet people face to face, like at restaurants, clubs, events. I mean, I still go to events, but a lot of times it's to go see people that I already know. And I don't really see a lot of opportunity to do that anymore now that we have social media. I feel like I do love what social media has brought us, and I'm able to like tap into people's interests that are similar to mine, and learn all types of things that maybe I wouldn't have been even introduced to. And so there's definitely a lot of value in social media. But what I'm saying is, I don't want the experience of social media to be um, sort of eliminating the experience of meeting people in person and being all together, doing one thing. And I had this one thought about this, which was being at a concert. And I don't ever really meet anybody at a concert, because I kind of go to like enjoy the music and then I roll, right? Or like, but the idea of being at a concert is like you're all experiencing that together. And it's such a sense of like a vibe, and it's like so amazing. It's not like an asynchronous thing where you're kind of like looking at an event that happened, and then you react, and then 3 hours later somebody see it, and then 3 days later somebody else see it. It's like we're all in this room together experiencing this music together, and it's amazing. So in the same way that we would go to a concert and experience a feeling, a vibe all together, and like sort of be dancing all at the same time, I feel like that's the value, one of the values, but like just sort of figuratively, that's the value of being in the same room with others. It's like you can catch a vibe, you can talk to somebody who maybe you wouldn't have talked to before, and there's a sense of like exchange, of like personality, intimacy of like thought and idea, and that you can't really, you can sort of manufacture it online, but I'm a real big proponent of like, let's do more stuff in person. Like, community wise, like it doesn't necessarily need to be like a whole festival or whatever, but it's like we should like just like get to know our neighbors some more. That's my little 2 cents, but social media can be a part of it. I certainly think it has a place, but it's nothing like the in-person experience of feeling something. And like I said, y'all be careful out here because I be watching the ID channel and a lot of people get hemmed up, and I don't want that to happen to anybody who listens to this. So anyway, all right, look, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Where do we go from here? I really just wanted to start this conversation. I don't think that this is the end of me talking about this by any means. Just thinking about how we're taking care of ourselves individually and collectively. Because that's another thing I could talk about is like the comment sections of things. It's like sometimes people can be really, wild and they wouldn't say those things in person. And I think that has an effect on us too in our culture. But I want us individually to start to realize that we are important enough to take some of our own time and some of our own resources for ourselves. I don't think that's something that we say out loud enough. Like, you are important enough to have some of your own time, to have some of your own money, to have some of your own attention, to have some of your own talent, to have some of your own focus. You can tap into that before anybody else has access to it. And, you obviously have bartered some of it away if you have responsibilities, a family, a job, things like that. But you also deserve to take some of that too. It's not just for everybody else. You make sure that you are taking some of what you're giving away. And, I just want to put that in perspective to some people because I had to tell myself that, and I'm still like putting it in practice. But we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. I don't really know where it comes from, but we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be this like standard of, what it should be. And, we never even created that standard. Where did that standard come from? I just challenge us to really push back and think about some of this stuff. Who said that? Who said you don't have time to do that? Who said you were behind? Who said that, you know what I'm saying, that you're not supposed to be exactly where you are right now? And learn from that and share that experience and have that connect other people who are like you, and then y'all journey together. Who said that wasn't the case? I think it's a lot of like us being hard on ourselves for not having enough or quick enough or or not being enough, and then we sort of retreat and like internalize and hide things from each other. And I'm just ready to say enough of this, right? Like, we got to get together and just be more honest with each other. Like, it's not something that we can let people decide for us, because I think that's a lot of what's happening too. It's like we're just allowing it to happen, and we're allowing that to be the standard. And so I just want to say that doesn't have to be true. There has to be an element of us deciding for ourselves, and then grouping together and sharing ideas and taking it to the next level, right? Like, really standing on it. Like, these are our lives. We get to decide. We get to make some decisions here. It's not about letting things happen to us. And, we can't control everything, but you can certainly control how you feel about you, what you're doing with your resources, and then you can reach out and be that for somebody else. Like, we can develop a sense of community that way. But your life is your own. It's not somebody else's. We don't have to wait for permission. It's not about somebody else's expectations. It's about what you are here to do and what you are growing into. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, all right, look, that is my little nugget for us today. I hope y'all are out there taking your time for yourself and taking your resources to yourself. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and I hope y'all will be blessed. Oh, before I go, let me go ahead and put this up on the screen because I do have some digital products. And you know what? I'm going to be so honest with you. My intention is to share value and to be, to add some value to the world and use what I know to do that. And I also want to make some money. Like, let's not be shy about that. I've built some things here that I know are valuable. And listen, if you want to check them out, there's some freebies in there too. But yeah, that's my QR code to our Stand store. It'll take you right to the Stand store for Inject God, which is a brand that my husband and I have built. And so there's a number of digital products in there. But I didn't want to get off of here without sharing that. And look, like I said, my goal is to create and share value. And definitely one of my goals is to be, creating some sense of financial independence for myself and taking care of my family. I am not afraid to say it. So yeah, make sure you click the link in the bio in the description box to go to the Stand store. If you caught that QR code, if you didn't, go ahead and rewind this. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a great day, and I hope we're out there taking care of ourselves and each other. I'll see y'all later. Be blessed.